What happens to your brain after nearly half a century of daily meditation? Is it possible that something as subtle as breath, as invisible as awareness, could leave a permanent imprint on your nervous system? Welcome back to the Jade Dragon Podcast, where ancient wisdom meets modern science. I'm your host, David Lloyd, and in today's episode, we explore one of the most astonishing meditation studies ever conducted, a 45-year EEG follow-up on a man who practiced Qigong every day for 5 decades. But this is more than science. It's a story about transformation, about inner stillness, and about how the rhythms of the mind may reflect the quiet persistence of daily practice. Let's begin. Our story starts in 1962. A Chinese researcher named Zhen recorded the EEG, the brainwave activity, of a Qigong practitioner we'll call Mr. Lin. At the time, Mr. Lin's brain activity looked like many others. A dominant alpha rhythm, hovering around 10 Hz, centered in the occipital region at the back of the brain. That's the classic pattern we see when someone is relaxed, eyes closed but alert. And then, silence. For 45 years, no follow-up, until 2007. Mr. Lin was now 76 years old, still alive, still practicing Qigong, still meditating every single day. And so, the researchers brought him back. They gently placed electrodes on his scalp and pressed record. What they saw was nothing short of remarkable. The alpha waves had shifted. No longer concentrated at the back of the brain, they now appeared front and center, in the frontal midline, just behind the forehead. The frequency had slowed slightly, down to 8.1 Hz, but the waves were stronger, more coherent, more synchronized. This wasn't just something that happened when he meditated. This was Mr. Lin's resting state. His baseline, his brain, had changed. Let's pause here. Alpha waves are associated with calm, internalized attention. They're the brain's rhythm of quiet focus, like still water, reflective and deep. In most people, this activity is strongest in the back of the brain. But Mr. Lin showed something rare: frontal alpha 1 dominance. This pattern is usually seen only in long-term meditators. It's linked to emotional regulation, executive function, and sustained internal awareness. In other words, it's what meditation aims to cultivate. But it didn't stop there. Mr. Lin also showed elevated theta and beta waves associated with deep concentration and active mental processing. And most striking of all, his brain showed unusually high coherence. That means different regions of the brain were working together, in synchrony, like instruments in a finely tuned orchestra. The researchers called it autogenous brain stimulation. In plain terms, it's like deep brain stimulation, but without any machines. No electrodes, no implants, just breath, focus, and 50 years of daily practice. This is where Taoist wisdom meets modern neuroscience. In Taoism, the mind and body are never separate. The breath is the bridge. Through Qigong, through the slow, deliberate movements, the awareness of posture, the cultivation of stillness, we return to our bodies, return to the present moment, return to the flow of life. The word Qigong itself reveals the path. Qi is the life energy. Gong is skill, discipline, cultivation. So Qigong is the disciplined cultivation of life energy. And according to this study, it doesn't just affect your mood. It alters the very rhythms of your brain. It brings to mind chapter 10 of the Tao Te Ching. Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Perhaps Mr. Lin did. frontal alpha waves, deep synchronization, a brain that echoes the harmony of the Tao. This is not metaphor, it's biology. So what can we learn from this? First, consistency matters. Mr. Lin didn't practice once a week, he practiced every day. And that steady rhythm, like water wearing away stone, left an imprint on his nervous system. Second, stillness is powerful. In a culture obsessed with doing, Qigong reminds us of the power of being, the power of breath, the medicine of presence. The brain remembers stillness. And third, change is always possible. Mr. Lin was in his 70s, and his brain was still plastic, still changing, still becoming more integrated, more clear, more awake. So whether you're just starting your Qigong journey or have been walking this path for years, remember this: the work matters. It's not just about how you feel today. It's about the quiet changes happening beneath the surface. In your body, in your brain, in your life. The practice of Qigong is not flashy. It doesn't promise instant results, but it does offer something far more enduring: coherence, balance, and a deep sense of inner alignment. So the next time you stand quietly, breath flowing through your body, know this: you're not just calming your mind, you're tuning your nervous system. You're reorganizing the rhythms of your brain. You're walking a path that leads step by step toward harmony. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd be truly grateful if you could follow the Jade Dragon Podcast and leave a 5-star review. It helps others discover the show and keeps this ancient wisdom alive and thriving. To read the full blog post and explore more science-backed insights into Qigong and meditation, visit my website at www.jadedragon.online. I'll see you in the next episode.